Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, we have proof and evidence that Bay Area properties are dropping in value, and uh, I'm I'm going to talk about a specific property today, and that property is the former Oakland Raiders headquarters out in Alameda, actually on out on Harbor Bay Business Parkway. Uh, if you go out on Doolittle Drive and you come up to the Harbor Bay Business Parkway expressway, when you make that turn there, on the south side of the parkway, that's their practice field. That's the Oakland Raiders practice field. The Oakland Raiders headquarters is a little further down Harbor Bay Parkway. I remember when the Oakland Raiders came back to the city of Oakland. That was back in, they made the move at the end of the 1994 season. They left the Los Angeles Coliseum because, again, they couldn't get a stadium, and they couldn't get modifications done on the stadium down in Los Angeles that they had moved to. Oakland had such a bunch of people, a lot of politicians that really sold the city's soul to the Oakland Raiders to make them come back, and they promised Al Davis, Oakland Raiders, a property for their headquarters. And so the property that they leased from the city of Oakland and Alameda County for pennies compared to what it was truly worth, so that they had a place here in Oakland. And then on top of that, the city of Oakland residents were on the hook for another $125 million for Mount Davis that was never used because of the failed PSL debacle. Yeah, and so now that the Oakland Raiders are now the Las Vegas Raiders, they have no need for the headquarters. They vacated that, and for a while, earlier this year and some of last year, the new soccer team, Oakland Roots, leased the field and some of the space there for their practicing, and until they were kicked out earlier this year by Alameda County and the city of Oakland because they decided to put the 16-acre site up for sale. And the minimum bid for that 16-acre site is $36 million. $36 million. And I remember when everything was being developed out there in Harbor Bay Parkway, Ron Cowan was the main and only developer. He was a real jerk about everything, but he also supported the Raiders coming back. And so he made a sweetheart deal with the county and the city of Oakland to have a facility for the Oakland Raiders. And so Ron Cowan put together all of that, plus the buildings and everything else to the Oakland Raiders needs. And so it was a real sweetheart deal for the Oakland Raiders, and then to have them backstab Oakland and Alameda County the way they did. But that was to be understood because the deal originally was with Al Davis. And if you know, Mark Davis never liked Oakland. In fact, he avoided Oakland, and his dad didn't want him around Oakland. And Mark Davis was actually, until Al's death, Mark was banned. He was banned from his dad's headquarters, Oakland Raiders headquarters, out here in Harbor Bay, Isle. I lived out in Harbor Bay, Isle at the time when the Raiders moved in, and construction had started, and it was a fiasco out there, because it disrupted a lot of stuff, a lot of the daily goings on of Harbor Bay, Isle, the resident side, and so. But one of the interesting thing is, when they had the auction, Alameda County put the 16-acre site up for auction, and nobody, not even a developer, showed up to bid on the property. So that's telling you that this prime piece of property is Oakland, Alameda, and the Bay Area is no longer desirable as it once was. And there was a lot of growth out there in Harbor Bay Parkway. A lot of businesses expanded out there. My former wife, she worked out there when she was with the University of California. She worked in the office of the president, and the satellite office that was out there was Office of Technology Transfer, and so that's where she got her IP, intellectual property licensing, through working for the UC system. And so when she told me that the Raiders were going to be moving in, and she took me for a tour out there, I said, this is not good. And the following year, we moved out of Harbor Bay, Isle, in it was April of '96, and so, but it was a crazy time. Ron Cowens, he was a real jerk, and he caused a lot of FAA problems for the Oakland airport, because that jerk off would fly his personal helicopter from Marin to the job sites here in Alameda, and violated FAA and Oakland airport flight space, and caused a lot of problems with outgoing flights because of him illegally operating his helicopter in the fashion that he did. And then the FAA, how they dealt with Ron Cowan, that developer, was, number one, they took his pilot's license, his helicopter pilot's license, and then they put a ban on him having the ability to ever buy an aircraft again. That's how much of a jerk Ron Cowens was. I hated him. The homes were poorly built. I watched a lot of those homes be built up there. In fact, my last home out there was built by his group, but it was a full build out. It wasn't kit homes like a lot of the single family homes out there in Harbor Bay. And these were all hand created, and that was what both places that I lived at in Harbor Bay, Isle. One sat on bedrock. That was in Baywood Landing, or Baywood Village. Excuse me. Baywood Village was the first place I lived, and then I moved over to Brittany Landing, the Bay, and stayed there for a number of years until things got crazy there in Alameda. One of the reasons why I left there is because just to get off in the morning before 5 o'clock would take me 15 minutes to get off the island. That wasn't acceptable to me, so that's why I moved back to Oakland. It, the property is jointly owned. That Raiders property is jointly owned by the City of Oakland and Alameda County. And so they want a minimum bid of $36 million. And with that's prime real estate right there out near the airport. It's slated for industry, for commercial office buildings. It's not for residential because how close it is to the flight path of the Oakland airport, the light aircraft airport, not the heavy aircraft. So that's why it can't be used for residential, even though they're considering it. So, but with nobody bidding, so this is interesting. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because city and county are stuck with a building that they can't sell. They kicked the tenant out that was interested in renting it and was renting it. And so Oakland Roots have now made other arrangements for their facilities for training and everything. But hey, if you got $36 million and some ideas, I have some ideas, but $36 million isn't in the budget for the project that we're looking at right now. That's way out of our budget right now. So, but the site is interesting for aquaculture and vertical farming. And so that would be real interesting. Until I saw the price, I was actually kind of interested, but then once I see $36 million for the 16 acres, that's number one, that's too much money per acre. And that's, if you think, that's over $2 million an acre for that land. That's insane. That's not reasonable, and that's not sustainable. So Oakland and Alameda County may be sitting on that for a while, and they may have to consider taking substantially less, given all the Bay Area issues, the high crime, businesses leaving. So just a real bad situation. So I don't see anybody stepping forward in the near future with $36 million to buy that 16-acre site. But it is a very valuable site, and in close proximity to transportation. So thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.